Hey guys, welcome to our weekly Blue live stream. Hope you guys are all having a great week. As per usual, we're going to be streaming to Abstract Portal. So we got this stream going out on YouTube, on my own X, and to Abstract Portal. So let's welcome all our Abstract friends. I got a couple things to talk about today for our weekly AMA. Recent events. It's been a pretty big roller coaster in the markets, mostly downwards these last couple days over the last week. So let's talk about that. We're going to talk about how GBlue is doing, how it's holding up in these tough times, and what's coming next. There's also a lot going on just with OpenClaw, with agents, and there's a lot going on with AI. For anyone that's on X, I'm sure you're seeing this nonstop on your feed. So we're going to talk about that a little bit too. So let's dive right into it. So I guess the first thing I want to talk about is let's look at the GBlue chart here real quick. So we've suffered a bit of a pullback here, as you guys can see. It's pretty much every single crypto has, with Bitcoin and Ethereum pushing, lows that we haven't seen in quite a while. Actually, I've got the chart up here. Actually, I guess I'll introduce this real quick too. We had a book dex, which was like a perp dex built around the book branding. Since I had already paid for all that, so I figured, why not kind of rebrand that a little bit and get some use out of it. So we did create abstractpurps.com. This works with Abstract, and it works with a bunch of other chains as well. So this can just generate some extra revenue for the protocol. If you guys are using Purps, or if you know anyone that does, send them over to Abstract Purps. But yeah, Ethereum at 1950. I think last time we did a stream, it was closer to 3,000. So definitely big haircut on Ethereum since our last stream. And yeah, it's been impacting pretty much all cryptos. For GBlue specifically, though, the timing was a little bit rough for us. On Arborium, with the launch of Burr, they had done a lot of bribes to get a lot of votes, and that took votes off of the other gauges. So that did bring our APR down a little bit as well. Of course, with Ethereum dropping, ABX has dropped a little bit, which has caused, again, our APR to drop a little bit. So, GBlue's basically been enduring the market conditions with Ethereum, and, we've had our APR temporarily drop. I expect that to, jump back up in the near future. And as well, if you look back about a week or two ago, we did have a lot of bonds expiring right at that same time. So we kind of had those three different events all kind of contributing to a little bit of a sell-off in GBlue. But, I'm very confident that it's just a short-term setback, and we'll be right back on our way to pushing new all-time highs in no time. We'll probably need the markets to look a little bit better before we're pushing new all-time highs, but I am confident we're due for a momentum switch anytime now. Some other things that we're working on in the short term is, so for one, my stream is now verified on Abstract Portal. So I got a little check mark beside my name. So that should give us some more visibility on Abstract. We're working towards getting the token and working on getting the token verified in Abstract Portal. We should have that done very soon. That's going to give us a little bit more credibility. We're always, trending up near the top on Dex Screener and in the portal. So working on that. And yeah, I mean, we still have all the same things that we talked about, in the last couple of streams. We still have that all coming up. We have major branding rework coming up. Still figuring out exactly what angle to take with that. Got a comment from Abstract Portal. Good to hear that token will be verified with Abstract. Yeah, I'm surprised it's taken as long as it has, actually. It's we got CoinGecko listings, we got Dex Screener proper listing, we're on DeFi Llama, we got all these public listings set up. So I'm not sure why that hasn't been done yet, but myself and Nick we're on top of it, so should get that taken care of very soon. Where's your cooking hat? I have to wear it next stream. Kev T says, great time to DCA into GBlue and ABX, build that LP and voting position. Yeah, 100%. ABX has taken a pretty pretty hard pullback as well. I think, vast majority of all cryptos have, when you have your blue chips that are taking, dropping 8, 10% in a day. I mean, pretty much everything else is going to be dropping at minimum, that 8, 10%, probably a lot more. So yeah, definitely a great time to build up your G Blue and ABX positions. No question about that. So yeah, so I mean, essentially, the plan is, um, let me just grab this question real quick. Does branding mean replacing the whale with another cute animal? I thought whales are cute. Yeah, see, that's a great question. So I really like the whale. I think the whale works in a lot of ways. I think it's a really fun, friendly animal. Obviously whales in crypto, relates to larger positions. I think, it works on that level. Blue protocol, there's a blue whale. So I think, it kind of works on that level as well. So to answer your question, I guess that's kind of the difficulty and why, the branding work hasn't been done yet, as I'm trying to figure out exactly what angle to take on that. I don't want to get rid of the whale. But I think that what we do need to accomplish is we need to just have a more professional and financial feel to the sites. I think we can do that while still keeping the whale, most likely. The branding team that I was talking to, they did mention that they think they can do better on the icon or the logo. So I've got to further those discussions, but I don't think that necessarily means getting rid of the whale, but maybe the whale would look a little bit different, or maybe like just the way that we would portray it in the logo or icons would be a little bit different. But no, I'm with you. I agree. I think the whale's a pretty good animal. Yeah. So, essentially the plan is the same. We're continuing to build. We're working on branding, making things simpler. And, the main thing that we need to do is just spread the word about G Blue. So obviously last week we had Marcelo on the stream. That was a lot of fun. We're going to be doing future events with Marcelo. I've got an event lined up for Wednesday next week with another huge streamer on Abstract. So we're going to, basically meet his whole community and get them all super familiar with G Blue and everything that we've got going on. So really looking forward to that. That's with GMB. So some of you guys in the Abstract community probably very familiar with him. So I'll be on his stream Wednesday next week. And of course, we'll be doing our usual AMA next week, Thursday as well. So some other things that we're working on, we want to integrate tighter with Abstract, right? Like pretty much everything that we build now is focused on Abstract. So in addition to getting the token verified, we're going to be looking for how we can incorporate XP into G Blue, whether that be like, having a borrow position or having a vault position, or, your LP stake position, I believe is already earning XP through a Borean XP initiative. So we want to be able to get XP to our users for just holding G Blue or, using the vault and different things like that. So, and of course it'd be the dream to get a G Blue badge in the Abstract portal, but that's, something I'm confident that we can get, but that's something that, it's going to take a little bit of time. And, yeah, I mean, essentially we're, in these market conditions, all we can do really is build and just keep, building out a stronger and stronger ecosystem so that when things look a little bit more positive, we're as best positioned as possible to take advantage of that change of sentiment. But yeah, I mean, I guess Kev T kind of really said it best here. Great time to DCA into G Blue and ABX. They're both lower than, I would have expected them to ever hit, really. So I think this is definitely the best time to take positions in both. And as well, I mean, if you guys have any ideas about builds, so actually, well, I'll show you guys one thing that I did show this briefly in the chat on Telegram. But, so one of the things that I think would help to get people into the G Blue ecosystem is if we had a really easy way to answer their questions. So while I was playing around with OpenClaw, for anybody that's following that whole, kind of agent that, you run on either its own computer or your computer. So one of the first projects I actually had my OpenClaw build for me was this Blue Agent website. So basically this website is not really the product. This is kind of just like a demo front end for it. But basically what this is, it's a support or chatbot that uses information about Blue protocol to answer questions. And so basically you could ask it like, so basically the idea is that I'm going to put this chat widget on our various different sites so that if somebody doesn't know like how to say bridge GBlue, or they don't know like, should I use the vault or should I use regular LP staking? It's going to be able to break down those differences for you. And something else that's really cool about it is that if you are on one of our sites, so once this is set up on like say the GBlue XYZ site, when you chat with it, it's going to get passed in your wallet address. So it'll be able to actually answer questions about your position, right? So like how much GBlue am I holding, or like, how much ABX am I earning per day estimated, right? Stuff like that. So that's really cool. And in addition, some of you guys might have seen this that are on the Telegram, but I actually built this into our GBlue XYZ bot. So the Telegram bot that we have, if you do like /agent and then ask it a question, and actually this was broken the last couple of days. I didn't realize my OpenAI credits had to be refilled. So I just actually fixed that right before the stream. So yeah, essentially you guys can just do like /agent and then ask the GBlue bot a question, and it will have all the details about your positions in terms of like what you've connected to the GBlue bot. But yeah, I basically just built this while I was just testing out like what can I build with OpenClaw? Like, is it actually going to be capable of building me like a full like AI agent that I can access via API? And like, yeah, it did actually a really great job of it. And I've been improving like the intelligence of it just to kind of, there were certain questions that it wasn't quite getting right. So there's, I've been, kind of improving the logic of it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting this set up on all of our different sites, and having this agent able to answer people's questions, and hopefully that can reduce a barrier to entry of someone that might not understand fully how everything works, and this bot can definitely help them out. Oh yeah, let's give it a little test just to show you guys. I don't know, I guess one question I like to ask is, how do I bridge GBlue? I don't know. This question's one that it was always getting wrong at first until I really set it straight. But yeah, so I mean, it's now it basically knows the layout of all the sites to say, okay, well, to do this, you have to go to this specific place, right? And I think that was like really important for it to be able to say, okay, well, this is the exact page where you accomplish that. Because I think that's one of the problems that we have with our sites currently, is that some of the functionality is available in a couple different places, and also some of the functionality is not the easiest to find for first-time users. So when you can just ask the agent, how do I do this? Or, it's basically going to the first thing it's going to do is direct you to the right page. Let's grab some questions here. Eric Peter says, can you change the GBlue price overnight into $500? I'll put it on my to-do list. I'll see what I can do. Let's aim for 100 first, though. I might need 2 nights to get to 500. All right, let's see what we got here. I supplied 96 USDC on the supply side as a holding place to use that by withdrawing. If I needed to fund pay down my loan if needed, now it has disappeared. Can you explain? I don't quite understand what you're saying here. If you're talking about the OG Blue borrowing, if you supply USDC, it's impossible for that USDC to leave there unless you actually withdraw it. Right? Because the supply side is completely separate from the borrow side. So like you could get liquidated on the borrow side. Like it doesn't really matter what happens on the borrow side. The supply side is completely separate. So maybe can you reword that question just so I can maybe understand it better, because it's not really making too much sense in that form. Let's go. The agent command says you need to be a whale. Yeah, yeah, you do need 1,000 points to use the agent. On the website, it's not going to have any restrictions, though. Yes, that's what I thought, but it has disappeared. I mean, it's not possible. Like literally, the only way it can disappear is if you withdraw it. If all of the supplied funds have been borrowed, you wouldn't be able to withdraw it, but it would still show it as supplied. Yeah, there's actually like nothing that can, if you so just to make sure we're talking about the same thing here. So if you supply assets here, let me just connect a wallet. Yeah. So if you supply assets here, this supply side is completely isolated from the borrow side, right? So, I mean, can I send you screenshots on TG? I mean, you can send me the transaction if you want or your wallet address, but it's not going to change anything. This stuff is very black and white how it works. I'll be happy to take a look at it, but I can tell you right now that if you supply assets here, if you're on the same wallet, you'll have those assets available to withdraw, but plus some extra interest. Like this is not like a cross borrowing platform like a Compound or Aave or something like that, where like all of your supplied assets are used potentially as collateral versus what you borrow. This is like based on Morpho, where they're isolated markets where the supply side is completely separate from the borrow side. So like there's like nothing that could actually happen that would reduce your supplied amount of USDC on the supply side unless you withdraw it. Like that's just like the code of the contract basically says it works that way. But yeah, I mean, if you want to send me on TG, that's fine. I'll take a look at it. But anyways, yeah, back to building. It's okay, found it now. Sorry, man. Yeah. I mean, stuff like that's black and white. So I knew if you deposited some assets there, they're definitely still there to withdraw. Yeah, so I mean, in terms of building, we're able to build faster than ever, obviously, with AI now. So if you guys have any ideas, I think it'd be fun to build a game. I kind of brought this up in the whale chat that if anybody has any ideas about a game, we could build a GBlue game to kind of benefit the ecosystem, or give community members something fun to do, or maybe a multiplayer game where they can play with each other. And as well, I'm exploring like how we can use, there's been a kind of an explosion on base chain of these agent tokens. And, I'm very familiar with AI, and I've got 3 different open claws running right now. Actually, that's something else I can show you guys. I set up an open claw for, what did I call her? Angela Moltz. I set up an open claw for basically an AI agent I made called Angela. Basically, this is just a bit of an experiment. I set her up with her own X account. She's got an account on Moltbook, and right now she's just kind of like running her own loop, just kind of trying to post. Like she's posting here, not getting too much traction yet, but oh yeah. So I mean, Angela's talking a little bit just about general AI stuff, just kind of grow her X account, but she is also talking about Blue. This is actually one of the first Blue posts I've seen her make. If you're new here, what would make Blue Protocol click for you in 1 minute? A diagram, a demo. Yeah, pretty cool tweet. So this is just one way that I'm experimenting with AI. So I do have one open claw that's running Angela. It's only running Angela. And so Angela's going to build up her X account. She's posting a couple times a day, replying to other relevant posts, and she's going to be talking about Blue. She was trained on the same data that trained our Blue agent, the one that I was showing you guys here. So knows quite a bit about Blue, but definitely a lot of improvements that we can do here. And that's just, this is just one way that I'm playing around with OpenClaw and just, seeing how we can use this to benefit the GBlue ecosystem. But there's a lot of other potential ways that we can do it, whether that be, I don't know, there's a million different ways. So, but if you guys have any ideas, the best way to, to get me building something is just to tell me in Telegram, especially in the whale room, if, for those of you that are in there, just, let's shoot the shit. Let's talk some ideas, and let's iterate on some ideas and get some new builds going. Can you do some sort of whale game with a multiplier which you bet on, similar to Crash the Rocket? Not too familiar with that, but I'm sure we can build anything. So maybe send me a link in Telegram and I'll take a look. But yeah, any kind of any kind of game that would stir up activity for the community, something that we could build into the GBlue mini app would be cool, or it could be independent. But yeah, any game, I think we did a lot of things right with the GBlue bot, right? The GBlue bot, it got people to do different things in the ecosystem that are beneficial to the project, like having deposits on multiple different chains, voting for the GBlue pool, stuff like that. So I think that, there's ways that we can build a game that would, kind of have similar type benefits. Just kind of keep activity up in the G Blue ecosystem. Maybe have a leaderboard of different players. Maybe use your G Blue tier or score to give you like more entries or more participation into a game or some kind of advantage. So kind of like these things can build on each other so that, you want to have a high tier. The more reasons that we can give people to have a high tier, the more they're going to strive to have bigger and bigger G Blue positions. So I think, building the bot tier into other things that we build is going to make a lot of sense. So hopefully some of you guys have some cool ideas that we can build out based on that. But yeah, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. It's been a pretty tough week with the markets, and obviously with G Blue trending a little bit down over this last week. But I'm confident this is a great time to DCA in. I don't see us going too much lower. Hopefully the markets don't drop too much more. And hopefully they turn around soon. But I think this is a great time to DCA into G Blue, into ABX, and really into crypto in general. But yeah, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. So I'll give another 20-30 seconds, see if any other questions or comments come in. But yeah, I mean, this is the time to don't lose your conviction. Our project's still as great as it's been. We were just pushing all-time highs just a week or two ago, and there's no doubt in my mind we'll be back to pushing new all-time highs soon. We just need, again, there's a couple different reasons that we're all short-term why we did dip, and I think the biggest reason of all was just the markets have kind of collapsed in the last week. But when there's blood in the streets, it's the time to buy, and that applies to the majors. It also applies to G Blue. It applies to ABX, and yeah, this is when people make the most money, is when you buy when other people are scared. So thanks for showing up, and keep on pushing. Markets will improve 100%, man. They always do. And again, I said this in the whale group. When everybody's calling for zero and saying it's over, that's generally the time to be buying, and we're pretty much getting to that point now. So this is definitely the time. I got some comments on Abstract Portal. Eric Peters, let's hold the line and we will shine soon. Thanks for the AMA, Aaron. Yeah, you bet, man. It's got to keep showing up, keep doing our thing, keep building, keep making our ecosystem better and better. And, it'll pay off. It has in the past, and, I'm sure it will moving forward. Thanks, Aaron. Could you start your teaching webinar up again on Moltbot? That was a lot of fun. I had some mixed results with that. I feel like there was a couple people that really got a lot of use out of those coding sessions that we were doing. Maybe if you give me a bit of a more specific topic, because Moltbot is like it's super broad. But yeah, I mean, I think that was fun. I think that what maybe happened is like trying to force those streams out when there's like nothing, like if there's not like a really good topic or not like a really good build that we're working on, it kind of is difficult, and it's like hard to draw a big audience because like we're not announcing like, oh, we're building XYZ or whatever, right? I think that like if we have a good topic of what we're building or what I'm going to be demonstrating, I think then we can draw a bigger crowd, we get more interaction, and then it's a lot more fun for me and a lot more beneficial to the community. So yeah, I'm definitely open to doing those again. Let's just try to maybe nail down some specific topics, and then we can plan those out and get those going again. And yeah, actually, I mean, now that you brought that up, like, my workflow has changed quite a bit. I haven't 100% converted to fully developing everything through my open clause. But I mean, it's kind of moving that direction, right? Like, so my coding workflow is evolving quite a bit. It's changing drastically. Even these last couple of weeks, it's changed quite a bit. So it's a lot we can talk about. I like the idea of building an X channel talking about the G Blue ecosystem. Yeah, definitely. So I mean, of course, we have our regular X account, Blue. Now it's G Blue X underscore XYZ. Actually, I guess that's something, I'm not sure if you guys all know about that, but we did update our X handle about a week ago. I want to say a week and a half ago. So it's we wanted to take the chain BNB out of the X handle name just because now we're obviously mainly focused on abstract, and Yeah, it was, it just didn't look the greatest having BNB as part of our X handle. So we've updated that. But yeah, I mean, so of course we do have the main Blue Protocol X account, and now we do have Angela. So yeah, I mean, Angela, I'm going to keep improving her. She's trying to gain some traction. If you guys, actually, I'll drop the link to her if you guys want to give her a follow. Just to kind of help the account out a little bit. I'll drop that into all the different chats here. And yeah, and interact a little bit with with her tweets, and let's get her some more activity. And I'll slowly transition her from talking like mostly about AI to start talking more and more about Blue as she builds up the account. I'm just trying to like prevent her from getting like marked as spam or stuff like that. So I'm trying to focus on quality over quantity for her posts. Just kind of like a real human should. So yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to see where that goes. And it's pretty fun. Like when I haven't checked it for a couple days and I just go and look and like, oh yeah, she's posted a couple times today. She's made a couple of replies, and like, let's see if she's still doing replies. Haven't looked at this. Okay, so she's mainly doing fresh posts. Okay, we got to get her replying more. Yeah, she hasn't replied since the first. Yep, it's a work in progress, but yeah, I mean, I think for one, I think X is a little bit tough for this because there's obviously a million bots, hundreds of millions of bots on X, but they're getting better and better at like limiting how much you can automate in terms of like how many automated posts you can send, and kind of filtering out those automated posts from like being visible in replies or just even having the posts visible themselves. So X is a little bit tough, but I think there's a lot of ways that we could utilize agents maybe on other platforms that aren't as restrictive, where I think we can really take advantage of all the different capabilities of AI and automated agents. I got a question here from Eric Peters on Abstract Portal. He said, is it possible to send ABX from AGW to TW or Rabby? So you can definitely send ABX from AGW. I mean, you can send any token from AGW to any wallet. I'd be careful with Trust Wallet though, because Trust Wallet does not support Abstract last time I checked. So I mean, as long as you have the same wallet on, you can send it to your Trust Wallet, but you're not going to be able to use Trust Wallet to actually access something on Abstract. So as long as you have access to that, wallet address or that that account on other wallets, you'll be fine. But yeah, if you just go in within the Abstract portal, actually I can show you. Within the Abstract portal, if you just go to my wallet, you can you can send funds like this. Just pick whatever token you want and whatever address you want to send it to, and you're good to go. Following. Let's go. All right, guys. I think that's about all the comments that we've gotten. So any way to be our own coin, meaning not tied to ETH, so we don't take rides up and down with ETH, like paired to stablecoin? Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. A lot of projects do choose to pair with stablecoins. Obviously in times like this when ETH is taking a huge dump, it's times like this where obviously being paired with the stable coin would have been a huge advantage. But I think it's the same is true in reverse though, right? Like I think like for one, I think like ETH is probably very close to having bottomed here. I don't know how much lower it can go. Like I'm quite bullish on ETH from these levels if you just like zoom out a lot. So I think like for one, I don't think now is the time to switch to being paired with a stable coin, because the same way that our price got kind of crushed with ETH dropping, I think, well, I know that we're going to really benefit when ETH goes back to new all-time highs, whenever that might be. But from ETH under 2,000 now to 5,000, that's a free 2.5x on the G Blue price by just being paired with ETH, just for it to go back to all-time highs. So yeah, in hindsight, pairing with a stable coin probably would have been a pretty good idea. But with ETH where it's at right now, and with us already having endured that ride down in price, I'm not sure that now is the right time to be making a change to something like that. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe in the future I will be more open to pairing stuff up with stable coins. Um, just it's something that I've always been aware of course, but it's I've always been very bullish on crypto overall. So if you guys that have been around me for a while know that I always pair with if I'm on BNB chain, I'm always pairing with BNB. On Abstract, I'm pairing with Ethereum. On Base, pairing with Ethereum. I'm just being bullish on crypto long term. I think generally it makes sense to pair with the native asset on the chain. Um, I mean, obviously, at times like this, with ETH taking a dump like this, that obviously it doesn't look as great, but um, yeah, I still think that's probably the right move. But yeah, great question. Yeah, that's something I was asking about for the future. Yeah, I think it would make sense to probably at least put a little bit more thought into it for future pairings, right? Like, or for example, like when ETH does have a major run and it say ETH gets to 6,000, maybe that'd be a good time to start exploring having a second pair with USDC or something like that, right? Just to kind of have some stability and kind of a little bit of insurance against an Ethereum drop by having like half of our liquidity with a stable coin at that point. Blue Protocol reposted the stream. Awesome. All right, guys. So yeah, follow Angela Moltz. She's going to be spreading the word about Blue. And yeah, I'll see all you guys around the community, and I'll keep building. Hopefully, the markets look a little bit better. It's again, I'm not too worried about the short-term price moves. It's what bothers me more is like the sentiment change, right? Like I know the prices will rebound, but yeah, it's just the sentiment of the whole industry being at such lows is what is what hurts me more than anything else. But yeah, it's something that we'll get past, and it's again, when there's blood in the streets, that's the time to be buying. So great time to DCA now into G Blue, ETH, ABX, and really any cryptos that you like, because I'm sure they're all at great prices now. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your Thursday. I'll see you guys around the community, and yeah, expect some announcements. I got that stream coming up with GMB next week on Wednesday, and of course our usual stream next Thursday. So see you guys there.